Alright, let's talk about Ellusionist. Another video about Ellusionist, Cavan. Seriously, I mean, what have you got to moan about this time? Alright, yes, granted, I have made a few videos about Ellusionist. A few? Alright, yes, maybe a few too many, but the reason I've made more videos about Ellusionist than any other magic company is not because I hate them. In fact, it's kind of the opposite. I respect Ellusionist. Yes, they've made mistakes, yes, they've done controversial things, and I've never been afraid to call them out on it. When a trailer is misleading, I've said so. When a product is subpar, I've said so. But the reason I've said those things is because I care about the company. I really like them, I really respect them, and I want them to do well. I know that they can do well, and that's the reason that I feel so strongly about it. But today's a bit different, because I'm not just gonna sit here and say negative things, because Ellusionist have kind of changed recently, and this is a feeling that is shared by a lot of the magic community, that Ellusionists are kind of on a new path. Obviously, there is still some controversy because this is the magic industry, so I will get to that in a minute, and some of you might know what I'm talking about. But first things first, Ellusionists have a new CEO. This is big news. This is something that I think is bigger news than people might realize. Brad Christian, or Crad Bristian, is no longer the CEO. He's not the CEO anymore. It's now Geraint Clarke. G is a magician and a creator that I really respect, and he's been the face of Ellusionist in and out for a while now. He's been associated with the company for a long time, and it's great to see that he has reached the point of being CEO of the company. I honestly can't think of anyone better to take over Ellusionist than Geraint Clarke. It's just perfect. Like, it really is. It's worth pointing out that obviously Brad Christian is still the founder of Ellusionist. Nothing can take that away from him, but he is also a stakeholder in the company, I believe. But he has no direct influence on the decisions of the company or the direction. That is now all in G's hands, which is really interesting. It poses a lot of questions because Ellusionists are a behemoth of the magic industry. They have a lot of influence over what is performed and how magic is perceived, and that is a lot of responsibility, and I feel good that it's in G's hands. That feels like a safe pair of hands to put it in, and so I think the magic industry has kind of collectively breathed a sigh of relief knowing that someone like Geraint Clarke is in control of Ellusionist. They're a big company. They have a lot of say in what goes and what doesn't, which kind of brings me on to the controversy, which is actually from an Instagram story. It always happens on Instagram, doesn't it? And this is what they said. Recently, we have seen 2 tricks that were submitted to us and we said no to, released with other magic companies. Why aren't other magic companies saying no too? Why isn't the creator looking to understand why it was rejected instead of rushing to the next just to get it out? We should want more for magic, as buyers, as performers, as gatekeepers, as creators. Less is more, let's only release the good stuff, the stuff that's road-tested, tried and true, and not the stuff just to get yourself a quick buck. They go on to say, 10% of creators make a ton of money, which incentivizes the other 90% to put out any old guff, which crowds the market and makes it harder for the best creators to make their living. It drives the best stuff underground, because they don't want someone else to rush their idea to market or copy them to make a quick buck. This all needs to change. And honestly, I read those Instagram stories and I was fully on board for it. I think that what they've said really resonates with me. It's something that I've spoken about before, how the industry is crowded. There is so much being pumped out all the time. You go on a magic website, there are thousands of products, with more being added every single day. And yes, it makes finding the good stuff really, really difficult. Obviously, I'm a magician that performs, and occasionally I buy magic products, but finding good ones has always been difficult, ever since I started, and it's only getting more difficult with more stuff being released. So, Ellusionist taking the approach of, we're not going to produce stuff just for the sake of it, we're not going to focus on quantity over quality, we only want to make the good stuff. For a magic company to say that, to come out and be so open and honest and actually put it in plain writing it's a relief, honestly. And so yes, only the absolute top, the absolute creme de la creme should be being produced, not just whatever you come up with, which is what it feels like at the moment. It is always astonishing to me that there are magic products that are on sale that you have to pay real money for that are worse than YouTube tutorials that you can just watch online for free. That to me is mind-boggling, and of course the only reason that that system exists, the only reason those products exist, is so that those creators can, like Ellusionists say, make a quick buck. There is so much drivel, so much nonsense being produced. I've done it myself when I was younger. I released magic products that I look back on now and I'm ashamed that I put them out. But it was because I was 14 and I was new to magic and I saw that every other creator was doing it, and so I wanted to do it myself. And that's me being open and honest that I've released some utter crap. But the reason I was doing that is because that's a mindset that is ingrained in the community. In order to make magic, in order to create magic, in order to be respected as a magician, you have to sell your magic, you have to sell your products. Whether it's tried and tested, whether you've performed it in front of real people or the camera or wherever it's designed to be performed, doesn't matter. Just release it and you'll make some money because someone will buy it, and that is success. That annoys me. That is so annoying. And when I read those Instagram stories, especially coming from Ellusionist, I felt really positive about it. I agreed. I thought, yes, that sounds really good. And then came along Craig Petty's video. It was a 45-minute video, I'm pretty sure, of like uncut, one of his magic rants. And I don't watch Craig Petty that often. That's not an insult. I just don't really watch a lot of magic YouTube. But I watched this one. And in this magic rant, he is talking about how Ellusionists are the self-proclaimed gatekeepers of magic. And that's a word that they use. Illusionists use the word gatekeepers. I'm never a fan of the word gatekeeper. It never feels good, but I can see why they used it, and I'm not sort of criticizing them for that. But what they're saying is, they're saying no to products that other companies are saying yes to. And the reason that's an issue is because every company has the right to say no, and likewise every company has the right to say yes. Let's dive into exactly what that means. Craig made a fantastic point in his video where he said that just because Ellusionists have said no to something doesn't mean that it's a flat out no. It could be a yes for other companies. Just because Illusionists don't like it doesn't mean that it's a bad trick. I think he used an example, I can't remember what the trick was, but a really famous trick, I think it was snaps, that got rejected by multiple magic companies. Possibly Illusionist were one of them, and yet when Penguin said yes to it, it became their #1 trick of the year. The most bought trick of the year, and it was rejected by lots of other companies. And this is the same in every industry. I mean, take the book publishing industry. You know, Harry Potter was rejected by multiple publishers, supposedly, and then it went on to be one of the most best-selling books of all time. It's just personal preference. That's what it comes down to. So, of course, with that logic, I can understand why some people were annoyed that Illusionists are pretending that they're the sort of moderators of what is good magic and what is bad magic, that they get to decide. But I don't think that's the point. I don't think that's what they were trying to say. I think they were just simply trying to say, we want to release the best magic. And that's the wording they went for, which can be misconstrued into them saying that we get to decide what is good magic and bad magic. And I don't think that was their intention. I really, truly do not think that was their intention. There are some tricks that fit the Illusionist brand, the sort of Illusionist style of magic, and that would get published with Illusionist, that wouldn't get published with, say, Penguin Magic, and vice versa. There are some that don't fit the Illusionist brand and do fit Penguin Magic. There are just different styles. Different companies, guess what? Different companies can do different things. I mean, does it even need saying? Like, it's such an obvious thing, but it's obviously so true. Where I started to disagree with Craig Petty was where he was pulling up products from their past that he thought was subpar. So he used Stackwatch and Black Ops Watch as examples of subpar products that don't fit this mantra of Illusionist only publishing the best, because if you're only publishing the best, how come these products got made? Fair point, but I think that's a bit silly because those products were released in a completely different era. Those were released when Brad Christian was CEO, and I'm obviously not blaming Brad Christian, but it almost feels like Illusionists are a new company. And so this new direction they want to head in, yeah, okay, there might be some products in the past that were subpar and don't follow this new direction, but that's because they're in a new direction now. Surely we have to be focusing on what they're currently publishing. And the stuff that they're currently publishing follows that. It is the best stuff. Like, the stuff they're releasing at the moment is world class. It really is. And I'm sorry if that makes me sound like an Illusionist fanboy. In this instance, I am, and I'll happily defend them. Interestingly, Craig also makes the point, which is really good, that some people love the products that he hates, right? Some people love Stackwatch and they swear by it, and some people perform Black Ops Watch all the time and that is their go-to coin vanish. But just because Craig Petty doesn't like them doesn't mean that it's objectively bad, right? Because magic is subjective. yes, Craig has a lot of knowledge about magic, and he is a performer and a worker through and through, and he knows a lot about magic reviews and magic products, but just because he says it's bad doesn't mean it is. And again, it all comes back down to that point of subjectivity. Companies have the right to say yes and to say no to whatever they like, and likewise, customers have the right to either buy or not buy a product. Overall, I am really excited for the future of Ellusionist. I can't wait to see what they produce next with this new attitude of only producing the slam bangers, as they call them. I mean, if they can continue and sustain producing the quality of stuff they have been, I think honestly the future is bright for Ellusionist. And I think they will start to mend that reputation. Because their reputation over the past few years, it wasn't good. They had a rocky relationship with the customer, especially after a few of the stunts they pulled. So if they can turn that around, and I think Geraint can, then I'm looking forward to it. I really, really am. There we have it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to hit the thumbs up button down below on your way out. That is always really appreciated. And if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss any future videos. We do anything and everything to do with magic, so if you like magic or you're a magician, make sure to subscribe. And also go and check out my last video. It's called The Entire History of Magic, I guess. And it's in the style of Bill Wirtz, one of my favorite YouTubers. And it's a quick, fast-paced history of magic in under 4 minutes. Took me a long time to edit, so I've left the link down to that in the description as well. I don't think I've ever promoted another video so specifically in a video, but it took me a long time to make and it's a fun project, so if you want to watch that, that is also really appreciated. And I will see you in the next video, whatever it may be. Until then, take care, guys.